This was part B of question 3 in the June 2024 exam in the subject Basic Finance. This was part B of question 3 in the June 2024 exam in the subject Basic Finance, and it read as follows. Consider the following table showing assets and liabilities, and the table that's being made reference to, it's this one over here. It shows assets, liabilities, and capital. You are required, this was the requirement, you are required to calculate the missing figures in the below table by showing how you arrive at each. So you notice that, for example, here, number 1, we've been given the asset value, we've been given the liabilities value, but the capital value is with a question mark. So we have to calculate and put here the correct amount. For number 2, we need to find the assets. We have been given the liabilities and we have been given the capital. For number 3, we need to find the liabilities. We've been given the assets and we've been given the capital value. For number 4, we need to find the assets value. We have been given the liabilities and we have been given the capital. And for number 5, we need to find the liabilities value. We've been given the assets and we have already been given the capital. What the examiner is basically testing you on in this particular case is your understanding of the accounting equation. And the accounting equation has this formula that assets is equal to capital plus liabilities. That is it. This is the accounting equation, and this is what you need to apply on 1, on number 2, on number 3, on number 4, and on number 5. So let's pick on number 1 for example. We've been given the assets there. We have been given the liability and the liabilities there, but we have not been given the capital. All that we need to do is to change this and make capital the subject of the formula. To change this and to make capital the subject of the formula. In this case, if we're to make capital the subject of the formula, then it's going to be capital is equal to assets minus liabilities. Assets minus liabilities. So we would have changed this particular formula and made capital the subject of the formula because that's what we want. In fact, let me just get this and move it. I put it right over here. Actually, let me put the formulas right over here. I put the formulas right over here. Okay, I put all the formulas right over here. Then we can just simply apply. So here, capital is what we want. This would be the formula. Fine. Here, assets is what we want. So assets, so it will remain the way it is in its original state. Assets is equal to capital plus liabilities. Capital plus liabilities. And for number 3, it is liabilities. We make liabilities the subject of the formula. So if we make liabilities the subject of the formula, it will be liabilities. Liabilities is equal to assets minus capital. For number 4, it's assets. So this would apply. This one would apply. So basically, its assets then is equal to capital plus liabilities. Number 5, liabilities. We already have the formula for liabilities there, which is liabilities is equal to assets minus capital. Great. All right. And this is the part where you're showing how you arrived, okay? This part shows how you arrived at your answers. Now, let's look at 1, okay? 1, how do we find the capital? We get the assets and subtract the liabilities. We get the assets and subtract the liabilities. Let's bring in our calculator. Remember, it is capital is equal to assets minus liabilities. So we already have the assets, it's 53,000. Then we are subtracting the liabilities, which is 14,900. So minus 14,900, and that gives us 38,100. 38,100. And so that's what we're going to write here, 38,100. We come to number 2. Number 2 is assets is equal to capital plus liabilities. We have the liabilities, we have the capital. We just add these two. We add these two, all right? So I'm going to just simply apply a formula here, okay? And get this one and get this one. 47,000. 47,000. So this is the answer here, and this is the answer right over here. For number 3, the formula is liabilities is equal to assets minus capital. This capital actually is supposed to be 25,500. 25,500. So take note of that correction. And we bring in our calculator right over here. It's assets. Remember, this is what we're looking at here. So assets is 35,200 minus capital, minus the capital, which is 25,500. And this gives us 9,700. 9,700. That's what we're going to put over here. 9,700. 9,700. We come to number 4. Just make this bold. We come to number 4 here. And we are looking for the assets. Okay, what formula we are applying? Assets is equal to capital plus liability. So we are applying capital plus liability. We have the liability here, we have the capital here, and we just add these two. Okay, we just add these two, which is this one, add to this one, and it gives us 115,500. 115,500. Then we get to number 5. In number 5, the formula we apply is assets minus capital. So we have the assets is here. Then we subtract this. 80,000 minus 60,000, that is 20,000. 20,000. Just like that. Here, make that bold. And that's it. That is all that a student needed to have done. And by doing this, a student would be guaranteed 10 marks. 10 marks. My name is Savoy. I invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Captain 37. 37 is a number, Captain 37. I also invite you to follow and like my Facebook page, Marketing Study in Zambia. And if you need lessons, you are free to get in touch and we can chat more. For now, goodbye.